Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into Keeno Worldwide's Lucid Manuscripts IV.
Right, his 27th studio album, which came out back in 2022.
Exactly. And it's not just him solo, is it?
No, not at all. It's a really interesting tapestry, kind of woven together with contributions from a whole group of, well, talented artists and producers.
Like who? Can you give us some names?
Sure. We're talking about people like Alicia Keys, DJ Payne 1, Fedarro, Nipsey Hussle, So Special, Aurora Beats, and Boger 2. Quite the lineup.
That really is diverse. So our mission here for you listening is to unpack how all these collaborations, come together in Lucid Manuscripts IV.
Yeah, to understand the key elements, the themes, what makes it tick.
And it's definitely got a range of sounds. So let's just get right into it. Starting at the beginning, Black Love featuring Fedarro.
Mm-hmm. Black Love right away sets this strong emotional core for the album.
How so?
Well, the lyrics, they definitely speak to deep affection, real heartfelt stuff. And the melody just has this way of pulling you in. You feel that passion immediately.
You really do. Now, you mentioned DJ Payne 1 earlier. He seems to play a big role production-wise.
Oh, absolutely. He produced, 5 tracks, Boundaries, Complicated, Ego, If You Only Knew, and Time for You.
5 tracks, wow. What's interesting about his style on these? What does he bring?
Well, what's fascinating with DJ Payne 1, I think, is his knack for pairing thoughtful, sometimes really introspective lyrics with beats that just make you want to move. They're infectious. It's a skillful balancing act, really.
So he keeps you thinking, but also engaged rhythmically.
Precisely.
Yeah.
He manages to get you reflecting without losing that energy. Take Ego, for instance.
Yeah.
The lyrics are exploring inner conflict quite deep, but the beat, it has this undeniable pull. It keeps you hooked.
That's a great point about Ego. And speaking of DJ Payne 1 and engaging rhythms, Time for You also features Fedarro again, right?
It does, yeah.
Seems like their collaborations really click on this album.
They absolutely do. Time for You is another just prime example of Fedarro's vocal abilities. His voice works so well there.
How does it blend with the production?
When you layer his voice over DJ Payne 1's, like, detailed production, you get a track that's both really rich in sound and it carries a real emotional weight. It just highlights how well the different artists complement each other here. It's not just throwing people together.
Right, there's a synergy. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the 2 tracks produced by So Special, Fly Away and Never Stop. How do these compare?
Well, Fly Away definitely offers a different sonic texture. It stands out.
In what way?
Where DJ Payne 1's tracks often have that more sort of grounded energy we talked about.
Yeah.
Fly Away really lives up to its name. It's much more spacious, almost a floating kind of sound. Very atmospheric.
So lighter, maybe?
Ethereal.
Ethereal is a good word for it. Think of it like the musical equivalent of a breath of fresh air. It provides this moment of escape within the album's journey.
And Never Stop is also from So Special. Yes, Never Stop also showcases that production style, contributing another layer to the album's overall sonic variety. Adds to the richness.
Okay, so Special brings a more, let's say, airy feel. Then we also have Like No Other, produced by Aurora Beats. What can you tell us about that one?
Like No Other adds, well, another distinct color to the album's palette.
Another flavor.
Exactly. Aurora Beats brings their own unique sensibility to this track. It just further demonstrates Keeno Worldwide's vision for, a diverse sonic landscape across the whole project.
It stops it feeling samey.
Right. It prevents the album from settling into just one particular sound or mood. Keeps you guessing a bit.
Good point. And we can't overlook Make It So Bad, which is another collaboration featuring Fedarro.
He really is a significant voice on this album, isn't he?
Seems like it.
Absolutely. And Make It So Bad is just further evidence of how well his vocal style meshes with the production choices here.
How so on this track specifically?
The interplay between his voice and the instrumentation, it just feels very natural, very seamless. And that enhances the emotional impact of the track, I think.
Okay. So, as we're moving towards the end of the album now, track 11 is Tomorrow Never Dies. This one was actually produced by Fedarro himself.
That's right. He stepped behind the boards for this one.
Interesting. What does this penultimate track tell us about the album's overall journey or message?
Well, coming where it does, right near the end. And especially being produced by Fedarro, who's been such a consistent presence vocally, it really feels like a distillation of some of the central ideas the album explores. That sense of pushing through difficulties, resilience, maintaining hope.
So it sums things up thematically.
It acts almost as a thematic statement, yeah. kind of reinforcing those core messages before we hit the final track.
And that final track is Visions, featuring, wow, Alicia Keys and the late Nipsey Hussle. Production by Bozier. That's a powerful way to close things out.
It really, really is. I mean, the inclusion of artists of that caliber, especially on the final track, it definitely amplifies its impact. It makes you sit up and listen.
And Bozier's production, what's the feel?
Bozier's production here creates this very reflective, almost dreamlike atmosphere.
Oh, girl.
It's quite contemplative.
Leaving you thinking.
Exactly. The track leaves you with this feeling of contemplation, maybe a sense of something lingering, a bit of introspection after the music actually stops. A lasting impression.
So looking at the album as a whole, connecting all those threads, what would you say are the main ideas or feelings Lucid Manuscripts IV explores?
If you step back and look at it all, the album really takes you through a whole range of human experiences, doesn't it?
Like what specifically?
Well, you've got explorations of different sides of love, definitely. There are moments of looking inward, self-discovery, understanding oneself better.
Okay.
And underpinning it all, that there's this recurring message about perseverance, but not giving up when things get tough.
Then how do the collaborations play into that?
Keeno Worldwide's guiding vision is clear, but it's really the unique contributions of everyone involved, the producers, the featured artists, that allows these themes to resonate in so many different ways from different angles.
And placing this album, Lucid Manuscripts IV, within Keeno Worldwide's, well, extensive body of work. Where does it sit? How does it fit into his artistic trajectory?
That's a great question. I think this album feels like a pretty significant step in his ongoing evolution as an artist.
In what sense?
It doesn't just demonstrate his continued creative growth, which is evident, but also, maybe more importantly, his skill in bringing together such a diverse group of talents.
Right.
And getting them all to realize a single cohesive artistic vision. It really speaks to his adaptability, and his commitment to exploring new sounds through collaboration.
He's like a conductor, in a way.
In a way, yes. Orchestrating these different elements.
Now, for anyone listening who's intrigued and maybe wants to delve deeper into Keeno Worldwide's music, or this album specifically, are there ways for them to do that?
Oh, absolutely, for sure. You can find merchandise related to the album and digital gift cards, too, usually on his official website or associated platforms.
Okay.
And also, signing up for the weekly newsletter is probably a great way to stay up to date on all the latest news, releases, maybe behind-the-scenes stuff from Keeno Worldwide.
Good tips. So it's pretty clear that Lucid Manuscripts V is a rich and multifaceted album, really highlights Keeno Worldwide's artistic growth and, as we've discussed, his strength in collaboration.
Definitely a standout project.
Hopefully this deep dive has given you, our listener, a clearer understanding of its key aspects, the sounds, the voices, and the central themes it explores.
Yeah, a shortcut to appreciating its depth.
Exactly. And maybe here's a final thought for you to consider, to mull over. When you think about how all these different producers and featured artists, DJ Payne 1, so Special, Fedarro, Alicia Keys, Nipsey, all of them come together, how does that specific blend contribute to the overall story and the emotional impact of Lucid Manuscripts V?
That's interesting.
And maybe what might this tell us about where musical collaboration itself is heading? The evolving nature of bringing different creative minds together in music today. Something to think about.